Shut up and sit down.
All right, everybody, welcome to Square Ring Podcast. This is episode, don't know, it'll be up there in the description. We have not been uploading lately because I have been out of town and I'll be gone for another week. So hit and miss, things will go up for another week or so. Try to get some stuff out this week. And Big Texan and Bobby D have been wrestling too, so.
Yeah.
How's that been going, guys?
Well, I'm still the champ, so I guess it's been going great.
I got my cup stolen, so it's not been great. However, when we talk about this coming up show, we'll get into that a little bit more.
I was going to say, there's a more title defense going on this Saturday, July 8th at the Expo at the fairgrounds in Belleville.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty good card. I mean, I was just watching the SICW replay of their Sunday night program, and they were kind of going off of some of the people. You know, let's just get into it. So Saturday the 8th, July the 8th. You know, after 4th of July, come on down to the Belle Claire Fairgrounds. Like Nate said, I think all the championships titles are going to be on the line that night. So
I say the one was just added. This got me excited.
Oh yeah, well, what one was that?
I'm gonna get another shot at Sean Vincent and get my title back and get my cup back from him.
Really? Are they? So the title's on the line. So how are you gonna get the trophy? You're gonna try to?
Because I'm gonna throw his ass all around the place, all the way back to Canada. That's how. That one I don't have to pin him to get. I got to pin him or submit him for my belt to get that back. Trophy, I just got to hurt him and take it back.
But you got his two knuckleheads with him. So you got was it the
intern and Glenn Williams?
Intern.
Yeah, but
That's stumbling on.
Glenn's not much of a problem, so.
Glenn's the one that stole it in the first place.
Better than he gets credit for.
Right.
Glenn's better than he gets credit for. He does talk a lot more than he wrestles, and he's just following a bad influence right now.
He won't be good till he gets a good influence.
I say, Texan, you know how you had all that built-up rage with all your feuding with Attila. At the end, it really didn't matter about Prater and all of them because it was just kind of that laser focus. I feel like that's what I'm going into next weekend. Or when this airs this weekend.
Well, I'm sure, everyone's going to be there in the back, so I'm sure, if shit gets a little hairy, we'll come out there and help out, at least drag their asses in the back so you can have that one-on-one or something.
Oh, yeah. Grimace is going back to Canada, that's all I know. Without his stuff.
Speaking of all was being there, so on SICW TV, they announced that Gary Jackson's going against Attila this Saturday. It's going to be basically, Gary's going to defend himself from them trying to put the Afghanian flag on top of him when they pinned him. I think it was a combination. I think it was a couple of them that knocked down Gary to even get to the point where they can put the flag on him. I mean, I don't think it was a loss, a straight up loss that had Gary on his back. So it's going to be interesting to see. Attila. Everyone says that he looks more dangerous now than he was when he was wearing the belt. That he's trying to get this road back to me, which I'm not too far away. So, you can always find me. I'm there every Saturday. But they're saying that he's on this wild streak and that he's going after Gary first since he's, Mr. All-American USA.
I think you'd label him as more dangerous just because you don't know what he's going to do. Like, he's not necessarily caring about wins and losses. Like, if you saw a couple weeks ago, I was having a match with Steve Fender on TV, and he came out and attacked me during my match. Like, he doesn't care about wins and losses. He just wants to hurt people right now and drape that flag over him. That
Yes.
major disrespect.
It'll be nice if we can just shut down this whole little organization with Attila and all the henchmen, and at the same time Lucky P and his hustlers, and McDarby coming out. Looks like McDarby's coming back. Then you got
See, I was hoping, you had the LA Hustlers lost the title, so Lucky had nothing left, and you took the title away from Attila. I thought maybe that would knock them guys back a couple steps, but they're still coming.
yep. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So speaking of the Hustlers, they got the return match. So they're gonna go against WWE Hall of Famers, Cowboy Bob Orton
SICW
Jr.
Tag Team Champions.
What?
I say the SICW Tag Team Champions, and they're WWE Hall of Famers.
Right. So yeah, Cowboy Bob Orton Jr. and Tony Atlas. They're going against the LA Hustlers that night. Kind of going back and forth here because Bob and Tony took it off of the Hustlers. Hustlers actually that was their first title defense too. So, they they couldn't beat me and Gary fair and square. Lucky P had to interfere, and then Attila interfered, and that caused us to lose our straps to them. And their very first title defense, they lost. So I mean, to me, it just shows that they weren't heavyweight, tag team champions material, I guess you would say, because they had to cheat to win it, and then they lost it right away. But I guess this is their time to prove if they should be holding those tag straps, uh, or Bob and Tony can keep them, and we can keep having the Hall of Famers as their tag champions. So that'd be kind of cool. I mean, what organization around can say that they have two WWE Hall of Famers as their tag champions? Uh, only in SICW, I guess you'd say.
No, I'm trying to think of any 90 of the other ones in the Allied Federation, and I can't think of any.
Oh, sure don't.
Yeah, but
Gotta love
Tony,
those fireworks going off. Get those dogs a little scared up.
And I can hear them going off outside myself.
yeah, the animals on the farm, even last night before any of the fireworks started with just the lightning and everything, I mean, nightmare. Tonight, I know when I get back out there, it's going to be 10 times worse.
I say them Thor's Friday night, they got my dogs going.
Mm.
And then it was great because I was watching Stranger Things with my son, and it was season 1 when she sits at the table and she's like trying to contact the other side, and all the lights start flickering in the show. That's right when I lost power. It's like you couldn't plan it any better.
That's great.
Did you guys put back the Ouija board back underneath the bed?
It's like, yeah, Owen, we're done with this. No more.
We'll have to
We're
come
going to
back to
bed early.
season 3.
Hell, I remember, this is way not wrestling related, but in high school, we would go up to the graveyard in Northern California, the one that had the eldest headstones on it, dating back to the 1600s, and go do the Ouija board there. Talk about stupid things to do.
Wow. I'll tell you, we used
Funky
to
shit happened there, too.
we used to go like on every Halloween we would try to find some place to go that was haunted, and some of it was really really cool. We went to Alton, Illinois. It's got a haunted graveyard and a haunted city walk that you can do, which was pretty cool. And Alton's got some of the underground railroads tied to it. Then we did the Missouri State. It was penitentiary, the Missouri Penitentiary. That place had so many people died in their gas chamber, and got to sit in the gas chamber and everything like that. So, like, Halloween's my favorite holiday. You do everything, but there's one thing I will not do and will not touch is a damn Ouija board. It's just something about just that capability. If you don't know, if you believe in it or not, just having the spirit, being able to cross over, and that's not for me. Thank you.
See, I love Halloween too, but I like to look for all the variety of costumes. You have slutty pirate, slutty nurse, slutty teacher, slutty doctor.
So you heard it here. Our Halloween show podcast is going to be us telling about the freaky shit we've done on Halloween and spooky stuff. And Bobby D will be dressed like a slutty nurse
Or pirate. We don't know yet.
or slutty pirate. Yeah.
um, this is the point where I'm saying that I'm glad that we don't have to be in the same place to have this podcast. Just so I don't have to be in the same room with Bobby as he's dressed up as a slutty pirate.
Yeah, because it's full authentic, no underwear. Airing that out.
And that's also a good reason why we can only see from the chest up. So it's,
This is a
however,
dickie.
however, since we do have that paid subscription tiers thing that we're doing now, that might just be a picture for the tier.
It might be.
That's top tier only.
Are. And if anybody is watching, send us a message. We're getting some great interaction on the YouTube page now.
I don't know if y'all are seeing this, but since we started talking about Ouija boards and ghosts, my light keeps flickering above me.
Yep, it's going off and on.
Well, my friend, you're the one that brought it up, so it could stay all over there too. So I'll be fine with that.
I'm waiting for your Mortal Kombat to start playing on its own, not in a demonstration mode.
So we
That'd
do
be great if
have
that thing started going.
we do have a return match. A guy named of Gil Rogers. He hasn't been on the SICW card in about a year. Reason being, he broke his leg during one of the matches. Not for SICW. Gil was, he's very he's a veteran of the business, and he goes everywhere. And at some point in time, he got hurt in a match and broke his leg. But I guess it finally got to the point where it's healed, it's mended. I think he's already had one match, and this is going to be his second match.
I say it was a big one too, like a clean break, wasn't it?
I do believe so, because I do know they had a GoFundMe on him for a while. Because I would love to get Gil on this podcast and tell his story, because I don't want to butcher it if I say something wrong. But he hasn't had the perfect childhood growing up. I know he was living with friends, and then friends' parents, and that's who actually supported him getting into wrestling. It wasn't. I just won't say. We'll try to get Gil on one night, and so he can tell his story, because it's a very interesting one, especially where he's been, because he's been everywhere. I don't think he's and he might correct me on this, but I don't think he made it up to the WWE or back when WCW was around. But he might have. He might have hit the WCW, and he might have hit TNA back then.
Is he around that long?
Well, you remember MTV's Wrestling Society X?
Yeah.
He was on that program.
I had no idea.
Yeah. In that, that had the 1-2-3 Kid. It had a lot of wrestlers that were just between promotions, in there, because Evan Bourne was in there. Of course, he wasn't under Evan Bourne. What's his actual?
Matt Seidel.
Matt Seidel. So he was using that moniker in that. But yeah, he was in that program. So yeah, he's definitely been around the block, and working for MTV. He's that's pretty good money. Any green money is good money, and evidently he was making some from there. So, but so Gil, he's doing his return, and he's going against someone that I just whooped up on last month. So I'm sure this return is going to be quick and easy for him, and that's Big Joe Helms. So our match, I did like our match. He did bring it to me, but I fought him a few times prior to winning the classic strap, and I kind of just not saying that he's a Hogan or a Cena, but if you watched one Joe Helms match, you watched them all. So it was easy to kind of contradict what he was going to do, um, but it was a good match. I liked the match, and of course, I even liked it better once I got the victory over him. So I can't go further than that. But
And speaking of breaks, old Darren Drozdoff passed away. If anybody wants to see, we did do prior, a few months back, we did show the event and the instance where he broke his neck, and he had been paralyzed ever since. So if you also go to not only our YouTube page, we put up a short in honor of him, but our Instagram page, and I think, Jim, you put something for Darren on yours as well, didn't you?
oh, definitely, yeah. I was actually at work when I heard the news, and I instantly tried to say something, rest in peace and offering support for his family and stuff. Uh, to me, he was a really cool wrestler, and I wish, of course, you never wish anyone get in an accident like that. Um, but he had the look. He was an ex-football player, and that's kind of where he got the nickname Puke from, because
He played for Denver.
played for Denver. Uh, he got this nickname because he would actually puke before like big games and stuff. I had the habit of doing that too. If something like big match is coming up, you get those nervous bugs and shit, so you just let it out, get it over with, and then move on, and then and that's what he did too. But so he, first when he first came to the WWF, and that's the short that Nathan put up was him in Vince McMahon's office, and Vince McMahon was trying to keep the whole puke thing going, and so he gave him a trash can, and supposedly Draws was able to puke on command, and so he was puking in the trash can, and you hear old Vinnie Mac go, "He's gonna puke! He's gonna puke!"
Oh my God, he's gonna puke!
It's so funny, but then so he debuted, and he was pretty cool looking. He had a funky haircut, got those tattoos. I think they're thunderbolts down his sides of his chest. Besides piercings and other tattoos, but uh, then he tag teamed with Legion of Doom. So you gotta be pretty good and pretty strong if you're gonna tag with them. And they ran the 6-man tag matches for a while. Then eventually Hawk just kind of Hawk had his own problems, so he kind of faded away. Where Draws and Animal just carried the ball. And was able to run. And I do believe they got the tag straps in that combination of the two as well. But when he got hurt, that was one of the times that I actually wasn't watching wrestling. And I've mentioned it before that, and even now, I'll get a steady, month or two of watching it religiously, and then I'll just like fall off. Something just doesn't hit me right, then I'll just not watch it for a while until you start hearing the buzz again, like something's building up. And here lately, the whole Cody Rhodes storyline and the Uso storyline has been pretty cool. So I'm not religiously about it, but I do check it out. Did you guys watch the pay-per-view Saturday?
I tried to start it late because it was in London and started at 3:00. And my son and I got to watch the women's Money in the Bank, and then it kicked us out until today, and I haven't watched it again yet.
Oh. All right, well, we'll stick to the draws then.
I was gonna say, I watched Lucha Libre on Saturday. That's not even close to the same thing.
Yeah. But I heard the move that actually broke his neck was basically the same move that broke Austin's neck. You
Yep,
know,
exact same
Draza's?
one.
huh?
You say Draza's neck?
Yeah,
Yep,
Oh, it was a
yep,
power
yep, the
bomb.
same.
it was a power bomb.
Yeah, it was a botch power bomb. He couldn't get him up all the way, D'Lo.
You
Yeah,
know, and that's weird too, because D'Lo is just a big guy. You know, you think he could have powered him up, but then again,
Well,
Brock
there's
Lesnar.
there's a lot of Draz was wearing one of those like fishnet type shirts during that match, and so some of the thinking is maybe that loose fitting shirt just kind of slipped when he was trying to lift him up. Teddy Long was the referee for the match.
Oh wow,
I was just watching a thing on it before we started.
did you? Well,
All
then,
right, Bobby, take it away. You're watching it.
Well, I'll say
well,
the
that's
other
what
cool
I'm saying.
thing that I take away from it is that Draws could have had a very different outlook on life after that, but he stayed super positive, stayed in contact with D'Lo Brown. They were actually really good friends even after all that, and just great positive attitude after everything.
Yeah,
Everybody that met him and knew him absolutely loved him. So I'm glad he
Plus,
was able
one
to
thing
keep
was
that
that he was
afterward.
completely paralyzed, and when talking about it, he's like, "Yeah, just had to learn how to do things differently." It's like he had the straw in front of his wheelchair, so I assume that meant like his arms and everything,
Yeah,
and like he just positive enough to, I just had to learn how to do things different.
so you know, since all the stories, little stories have been coming out. Yeah, he was totally paralyzed, and just within the last few years, they said he started getting feeling back in his hands and his arms, but still from the waist down, he was still paralyzed. But yeah, the last few years, they said that he still he regained control of his arms and his leg. I mean, his arms and his hands. Uh,
well, have you guys? Do you know how he died? Was it pneumonia or what? Because I've
and
never found anything that stated his cause of death.
they haven't
I
announced
would,
anything yet.
I didn't see anything like that, but you would assume when you're stuck in a wheelchair for 20 to however plus years that it's got to be complications on everything.
Yeah, staph infection, any kind of infection from, you know, if you don't get up and move around, you know, you get that infection going on, and same thing if you don't, you know, clean the sweat off of you and stuff like that, you know.
I
Uh,
think that's a route it could be too, but I'm even as simple as if he's not moving around but blowing into a straw, like your heart's a muscle. You got to work that muscle out a little bit.
Yeah,
yeah, and it's easy for them to get pneumonia, and you know, it's not like walking pneumonia or anything like that. This is like a serious deep down
yeah, deep stuff.
pneumonia, you know.
What's
Um,
going on with you, Bobby? You look like you're seeing a ghost.
My son just came in here and stole something and knocked my fans over.
Not the fans.
I know. I just, placed the one behind my bucket of ice so it's cold fan air now too, and getting spoiled over here.
Or you can just turn the AC down, you know.
Yeah, I'm already running this light, and that's like 2 cents an hour.
You guys are making the big bucks. You're living legends. You could spare 2 cents extra to run the AC down a bit.
Hey,
Did you ever hear that's how the rich stay rich is by being cheap?
Well, we're all pretty cheap, so
no, man, if my AC starts getting like where it says 70, I start freaking out. That's too damn hot. It's got to be lower than that. So 68 is my liking. So, and it's funny too because I have this two-story house and everything, and we don't even really go in the upstairs, so we're just in the main floor area. But the whole house has got to be cold, you know. I need to start shutting off the rooms and stuff and just keeping it at in the first floor. But
My bedroom will be cold when I sleep. That's all I need.
For me, 67, and all the house and the bedroom, 62, 64, I start getting hot.
I was talking to someone about this at work the other day. It's really weird. Like, to be comfortable and go to sleep at home, I need it cold. But I work out of a truck a lot at work, and you could sit there in a warm truck and pass out with that full belly, like no problem. It's like, do I need it cold? Do I need it warm? Like I can sleep with it warm in here, but it's got to be cold over here.
Well, you
Weird
said
how
the
the body
magical
works.
word, full belly. So you got a full belly, you can sleep anywhere.
Oh, there's very little work gets done after lunch.
So,
That's awesome.
backtracking a little bit, Bobby, you did collegiate wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Before a big match, did you ever get nervous, upset, throw up, puke, any of that?
Not really. Like I've tried to get my kids to do this. Like even all of my little wrestlers at the Devils, none of them really will do it. But like we would put some headphones on and put a hoodie up and go underneath the bleachers. And you would pace under there. You would close your eyes, like drown out like into the music, and just think about all your moves and everything coming up. And I still kind of sometimes get this way even in the pro wrestling matches where I'm out there and I focus with my opponent and I do not think of anything that's going on around me at all. Almost like a tunnel vision, I guess.
That is
No
so true.
nerves, no butterflies?
What's that?
No nerves or butterflies, just complete focus?
Nope, you just go out there and do what you can do. And then if you lose, you get really pissed off at yourself, beat yourself up for a while, and train hard.
So it used to be that I would have just that tunnel vision too. People that would come and see me wrestle would say, "Hey, did you hear me say this, or did you hear me yell for you?" And no, sure didn't. Because my focus was on my opponent. I never focused really on the outside crowd or what was going on. But this year, I think I have put a little. Not that I focused on the crowd, but I started interacting with the crowd a lot more. Then again, they've been behind me this year, nonstop. So kind of giving back to them, while I'm up in there. At least,
I'm saying, like before and after the match, I pay attention. It's like once that bell rings, that's my focus.
yeah, I mean,
I
yeah,
know
I
it's
agree with
good to,
that.
it's good to see you guys with the crowd, because the last match, you had little boys and girls dressed up like little cowgirls and cowboys for the Texans. Then you had Bobby D's normal cloud of people and his t-shirts being there.
I gotta send you a picture of this was a few months ago during school, and one of my fans, and I grew up with his dad a little bit in high school. His name's Kai, and his dad sent me a picture of it, and he allowed me to repost it. So I'm gonna say we can put it on here too. But at his school, it was like a dress like your favorite character kind of day, and he dressed up as Bobby D to go to school, like put the face paint on and everything.
Oh, that's
Oh, that's
awesome.
awesome.
You definitely need to send it to me so I can put it on.
We'll do.
That'd be awesome.
I said he's at every month show though. He's out there as loud as everybody else.
That is great. It's always good to hear that stuff. Just shows what we do for a living. And we talk about the fans that spend their money to come. They come for their favorite wrestlers, and it's like an escape for them. Whatever they got going on in their life, if they can't afford their bills and they can't afford their electricity, or they might not have a lot of food or something, but whatever their problems are, maybe they don't have a job, but they find a way to come to the show. And 2.5 hours, 3 hours, that's their escape from reality. And it's always awesome to hear that.
And I was going to say another thing, being out here, because I like to walk everywhere as much as possible, but even going to the store, going to the gas station, it was always people saying things to me for different reasons outside of wrestling. But now it's been when I'm going to the gas station, just going out to the farm at Motomart, the young kid behind the counter, recognized me from our show and says he likes what we're doing. He likes what you guys, that you guys are wrestling. And now it's more people yelling out of their cars about the wrestling to me instead of the other stuff they were saying. So I'm glad to see it's transitioning and people are saying stuff more.
So what you're saying is instead of them yelling like get out of the damn road, you little boy, or whatever, and now it's like, hey, you can cross, Big Texan all the way.
Now instead of yelling, you suck. That's ugly.
That's
He's
awesome.
Bigelow. That's an ugly bitch. Are you kidding? I'm so ugly. If I took a dog to the ugliest dog contest, they would pin the ribbon on me and thank the dog. Congratulate the dog.
For bringing you.
Yeah.
What
Win
was
that
the
match
Jerry
hands
Lawler
down.
one? I'm trying to think of the Jerry Lawler one I used to like. It was something like, "You're so ugly. Back in my day, we would have chained you in the shed and fed you like fish heads or something weird like that." Jerry Lawler had some great one-liners.
Oh my goodness. I don't remember that. That's funny.
I'm so ugly, I have to sneak up on myself in the shower just to wash. And it still doesn't work.
So what we 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4 matches on this show that's coming up. Of course, the 5th match, and there might be more matches, but they just haven't announced because I want to say Curtis Wild is probably going to be there. I'm sure Flash Flanagan is going to probably be there. So I don't know what else or how many matches are going to be on this card. But so I got my second title defense. Yeah, I can't talk tonight.
That's a
Second
big
title
one.
defense tonight, going against Kowalski. And I tell you, I watched SICW TV and seeing Brandon Beretta try to take on Kowalski. And he probably had maybe 3 or 4 good moves right at the beginning. And then Kowalski just kind of dominated him. Of course, Brandon is probably a half the size of Kowalski, maybe even less than half the size. But Brandon, he is, from the first time I met Brandon until now, he has put on a lot of muscle, a lot of quickness. He's getting a little bit more empowered in what he can do inside the ring.
Yeah, because now he has to lift all of us on his shoulders. He has to carry the house now.
He's got to carry the house. That's true. But it was just a quick, for Kowalski being 400 some odd pounds, he is very quick. And Beretta had him in the corner, and Brandon likes to do this splash where he hits the other corner and runs at you and splashes you. And in just a matter of seconds, Kowalski was able to get out of the corner. He hit the turnbuckle. And then he was able to, I think he picked him up, slammed him, and then he does like this big Vader splash, where he climbs up the turnbuckles, bounces off the ropes, and then splashes down on you. And that's what eliminated Brandon.
He's very agile. I like to compare Kowalski to like a modern day Bam Bam Bigelow. Very agile, very fast, very big.
I can see that. If he starts doing cartwheels in the ring, then
It would not shock me though. Like as much as I've mixed it up with him, it would not shock me.
Me neither. He's pretty flexible. I've seen him put his foot on your neck, standing, top turnbuckle high.
Yeah.
Flexible guy.
Yeah, so I'll get with Bobby later on, and we can kind of run over some details with me on what to do this Saturday. But
all lucha libre.
Oh yeah, there we go. I just won this title, and I have no plans on giving this title up so quick. So it's I'm gonna do what I have to do to retain. So. But like I said, that's just 5 matches, 6 matches, I think, is what we called off. But I'm sure there's going to be more than that.
So are you
I
the
mean,
prelude to the main, or are you the main?
I do believe I am the main for that show. I mean, it just makes sense, not to brag or anything like that, but just having the classic. Yeah, it could be too. It could be the tag match. It could be the main too. You know, or hell, the Central States. Central
So
States
you got
main once
three
before.
titles getting defended that night. Three.
Yeah, so it all depends on that promoter and what he wants to do, because all three of those matches could be the main. Bobby versus Vincent. Two WWE Hall of Famers. Why couldn't that be the main right there? And then me holding the classic strap, going against Kowalski. So, but like I said, you got to throw Flash in there somewhere. Got to throw, I don't know, Jason Breed should be there. You would think, because I heard that if the Hustlers do win it back, that Jason Breed and Curtis Wild are going to keep tagging up until they can take the straps off of them. Because they've
That's
been
a
having a lot of run-ins with the LA Hustlers. I don't think it was a bad break, but it was an ankle or a foot or something like that they did Curtis Wild not too long ago. Knocked him out for a while. But
Yeah, but Jason and Curtis tag team is interesting because they're so different in their style.
Sometimes that's what it takes. Where if you're going against two guys that are doing the same, you just got to prepare for that one style. But now you have to prepare for two different styles, and the one you're prepared for mostly isn't always the one that's in.
right. I mean, I have to say that when me and Bobby or me and Gary tagged, you know, I'm just a brawler. You got Bobby who was the technical guy, and you got Gary that could be both. I mean, hell, Bobby could be both, but those are more technical than I am. I just go out there and try to pick you up, throw you around, kick you, and hit you. Where these guys will actually try to wrestle you. It make great combinations. Because me and Gary, won those straps before as well. Um,
You know
so
what? A tag team I would like to see would be Bobby and Brandon. That would be that'd be
He
interesting.
would outshine me too much.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it'd be like, where's Bobby at? All I can see is Brandon.
And his awesome aura.
I tell you who I would like to see, and no defense to Joey, because I think Joey's really good and he's the new coming up, guy. Of course, he's on Brandon's coattails, but I would like to see Beretta and Austin as a tag team.
Awesome what?
Think they look.
Awesome what?
I ain't gonna say it because I'm gonna butcher it. Monticello or
Willie Tyler?
Muy caro.
what? Yep, what you guys said. So I think that would be a good tag team if something ever happened with the Top Guns, but I don't see anything ever happening with the Top Guns for a while.
Oh, I mean, just like exhibition, just a one-off. Because I think Bobby could keep up with Brandon pretty well.
I could
So
show
are
him a
you
thing or two.
so are you saying tagging or going at each other?
No, tag team, like a one-off.
I would like to see them go at each other. That would be probably pretty cool to see. You know,
I'd wrestle him. Like you always see, like, it seems that you always go against a bad guy. But I wouldn't mind mixing it up with him or Joey or Austin or one of them guys. McNeil would be a good one. I used to love watching GCW. I'd love to wrestle Billy.
yeah.
All right,
I
Herb.
remember wrestling Billy. It was in a tag team, and I was against him. And I had grabbed him. I'm used to grabbing 300-pounders where you got to dig deep down in to get them up. And I remember grabbing him and picking him up like it was nothing, and I actually sent him sailing. And I didn't mean to send him sailing. It's just that he was just so small and so light that when I picked him up and did my natural thing, he went flying to the other side of the ring. And
I say, if you've ever watched Billy McNeil wrestle, I'm sure he yelled something at that time. And, like, that's one of the hard things to be about wrestling him. Like, he creates distractions just with talking and being weird.
Yeah, it's definitely I have to say we do have a great mix in the locker room. Minus the hustlers, the Attilas, the Sheiks, and everything else. We got a great mix in the locker room.
Yeah, you got to get rid of some of the jerks sometimes.
Yeah, well.
We'll work on that.
But then again, if the jerks weren't there, they wouldn't make us look so good when we beat them.
That's true.
If they're not there, who are you gonna hate?
Right. Excuse me for a second here.
Little gentleman jerk.
No Jack this time. It's just a little fireball.
Ah,
That's too much cinnamon.
Opens up the chest.
Too much cinnamon. Can't do it.
Man, I was watching this commercial, and it was on Jack Daniels, and I think you brought it up to me, Bobby, that there was another step besides Gentleman Jack. I remember the commercial, but I can't remember the name of the Jack Daniels. It's 100 proof, and I'm thinking, that sounds pretty damn good. Yeah.
That sounds like you're going to be in trouble in the morning.
Yes. But
that's a question bottle right there. I mean, what did I do? Was I any good? Where am I?
How mad is the wife?
Oh, man.
I don't remember eating that. No.
Man, so besides this month with the 2 Hall of Famers, next month we got another Hall of Famer in the house.
Yes.
Yeah, so on February the 12th, again.
February. Not February.
August.
Wow.
Going back in time.
Yeah, that's
I don't even know why I
too
came
much
up
fireball.
with that. That's, my friends, why you don't drink.
How many drinks did you take, Tex?
So, August the 12th, Tito Santana is going to be in the house. So I think that is really cool. Being a WWF fan at the time, Tito was always one of the cool baby faces. And we had Tito Santana in the house before. Very nice guy. So it's always good to have him return.
And we will try to get him on the podcast. It's just going to depend on his schedule.
I looked it up when he was announced, and I can't remember now because it's been a couple weeks. He was in WWF or WWF for, what was it, 30 to 40 years? Something like that? Like, super long tenure.
I know his tenure's got to be up there because...
No, I'm sure that includes any kind of backstage roles he had and stuff, too, because...
Well, so back in the day, Vince Sr., WWF, they were very big on pushing ethnics, or you got Tito, who's got the Mexican heritage. You got
his favorite Bruno Sammartino.
Yeah, Bruno Sammartino. You got the Italian heritage. Pedro Morales. He was he Cuban, or was he more of a Spanish style?
I'm not sure.
But so I mean, they were big on Ivan Polsky on the Polish Power, and so Tito was kind of rare because he wasn't lucha libre style. He was an American style wrestler, just with the Mexican heritage. So it kind of like was best of both worlds. Even though I have seen him in matches After he retired from like the WWE, I want to say he was still part of WWE. It might have been WWF, but there was some matches I seen where he was actually in Mexico wrestling, but he wasn't really still doing the lucha libre. He was still doing the American style, where he was always in a tag match, and the other three opponents, the opponents that he was wrestling, and his tag partner was doing a lot of the lucha libre stuff. But it was still kind of cool to see Tito down there and wrestling. Because you don't never seen that up here. He never wrestled another Mexican team or anything like that up here. Wasn't he Strike Force? Wasn't he part of Strike Force with Rick Martel?
I think that's around the time I was watching WCW.
Could have been. Yeah, or you
You
could have
said
been an
Strike
hybrid.
Force, and I think the MMA promotion, so.
No, I want to say they were part of Strike. I want to say they were Strike Force. It was him and the model Rick Martel, because he wore white trunks, white boots. That was before the model. Well, before Rick Martel became the model, and having to spray everyone with his arrogant spray and all that stuff.
Who wants to smell like that guy?
I think I told this last Tuesday at the class, and Bobby showed up to the class, or maybe it was on the podcast. I can't remember. But you had what was his name? Gorgeous George, back in the 50s and the 60s. And when I was talking, no one knew what I was talking about, because he would actually have like a person come to the ring with him, like an escort, and he would bring in this box. And this box had a tube and it had a mouthpiece on it, one of those breathing apparatuses. And he would be breathing in it. And everyone would be like, what the hell is he doing? And on the box it said Florida Air. And this match was in California. So the whole thing is he had to get some clean, fresh air from Florida into him so he can wrestle in California, where the air is all nasty and bad. And then, he would also, I think this is the first time that we've seen something like this, where they would have like a sprayer, and the guy would, spray around the ring and spray around the audience to make the smell better. So I think Rick Martel kind of took that from Gorgeous George.
I thought you mentioned that on our podcast last week.
It could have been, but we did do a podcast, and you guys probably haven't seen that yet. And that's probably why Nate didn't know exactly what number we're on, because we actually got a few things in the can that we just haven't released yet. And last week we actually filmed a little bit at the Ace Academy. We kind of brought in some of the future guys that are going through the training, and they're not graduates, so they're far from being on the card all the time. Every now and then you might see one of them pop up or pop in, just to kind of see how they're doing, being on the card or being on the TV shows. But it was nice to see them in their little land.
Or if you come to an SICW show, sometimes you can see them collecting ring gear, doing security, kind of paying their dues before they get on the card.
That's true. But I think it was kind of cool seeing some of them where, they kind of froze once they realized the camera was on them. And like one of them, I swear he just went totally white. He was like, and when, the same kid, when we got done filming him, it's like, I never had anyone ask me any questions like this. I had nothing to say. And I said, well, that's why you gotta think about this, because you're selling yourself to the audience. You're trying to get over with them. If they don't know anything about you, if you don't share anything, then you're a mystery to them, and they're not going to get behind you. because there's nothing of you that's pulling them in. Because this kid, is a volunteer fireman. He's certified in CPR and everything to help people. And he wanted to get over the fact that he wants to help people and show people can be volunteers. But when he wrestles, he doesn't say anything of that. Doesn't show anything. Even with a T-shirt that says "I'm a volunteer fireman" would go crazy. Because sometimes we wrestle at firehouses. We do that Swansea firehouse where they bring us in. It's actually the firemen who actually bring us in to wrestle to try to make money for them. Something like that. If he was ever on one of those cards and, wearing a shirt says, "My day job is a volunteer fireman," or, the fans would have something to go behind him with. That guy probably could have saved my family. I'm down for him. Something.
I
I
thought
know
it
it
was
sounds
an
stupid, but
I thought that one was an EMT, wasn't he?
no, he's
Not
a
an
volunteer
EMT?
fireman. But there's other ones. I mean, we interviewed. Not everyone was there that night, and that's one thing about the school that kind of drives me nuts because you got ideas in your head of what you're gonna do, and sometimes not the whole. You're missing 4 or 5 guys. And sometimes it's good too, because sometimes when you are trying to teach 15 people, it's kind of hard to do that. Versus if you got 4 people that you get really hands on, um, and detail it up, it does wonders.
Welcome to coaching.
Right.
Now scale that up to our low nights are 20 kids. And then they come back the next week after they missed one. It's like, you're trying to, all right, remember when we went over this? Well, we're going to build off of that. I wasn't here. We got to start over.
Yeah. So
I
I
don't
don't know
know,
what's worse.
when I coach soccer and when they would miss it and they go, "We got to start over," it's like, no, catch up.
Like, nope, I'll pull you into, I'm going to show everybody else. We're going to get them drilling, and then I'll show you.
Yeah,
That's usually the way I roll with it.
I've had to do that sometimes too, but I don't know what's worse. Adults not missing. I mean, adults missing their obligations, or parents not sending their kids to the obligations.
I can tell you, I don't blame the kids when they miss.
It's always the adults are worse, always. Because
I said the kids can't get there
the kids
without
will
the
catch
adults.
on pretty quick.
When I was in grade school and I used to be on the basketball team, I knew I wouldn't have a ride back and forth. So I would just, if it was an hour after school before the practice was, or it could have been right after school. I just stuck around school and just waited there, and that way I knew I was there and I didn't have to worry about trying to find a ride up. Because growing up, my father worked 2 jobs, and my mother actually didn't know how to drive. She was taught way back in the day, and then she got in a car accident, and then it was just never made it out for her. So I realized if I wanted to be a basketball player, I had to stay there. So that's what I ended up doing. But yeah, kind of crazy. I don't know what. I know life happens though.
We were sleeping one day, and the wife's like, wakes me up. What's that noise? And I look over, and one of the outlets was on fire with all that paper coating and stuff.
Ooh.
Like, oh, let me put that out.
You just woke
You
up.
couldn't see anything yet. You just hear crackling behind the outlet. And then, like, a couple minutes later, it's like, there's a little light behind there.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I got to ask, how'd you put it out?
I think I blew on it. Or fanned it or hit it with a blanket or something. I don't know. I was half asleep.
I was just seeing if you threw water on it because that
Not
kind
with
of fire.
electricity. Now, I remember it blew the fuse right away, got the fire out, and then, like, I disconnected the wires and went back to sleep.
There you
Hey,
go.
you gotta do what you gotta do. Sleep's important.
I'd work next day. I think my alarm was going off in like 3 or 4 hours.
uh, I know you guys said you didn't watch the Money in the Bank, but I tell you, you guys should check out the men's ladder match, the Money in the Bank ladder match, because that was really good.
I saw a highlight from it with
Yeah,
Ricochet trying to do a slice spread number 2 to Logan Paul.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Logan Paul was in this. Now you know I'm not gonna watch it.
You know,
You know what I will? That man, like a lot of celebrities, when they do these matches, do pretty much nothing. The matches he has done, he has like a lot of it's acrobatic, but he has like stepped it up for celebrities in matches.
I agree. You know, you got like William Perry, the Fridge. You know, he was in a battle royal. He was just all kicks and punches. You
That's what
know,
most of them are.
right, right. You know, Mike Tyson. It was just a punch. You know, and he was just
At,
recently in AEW. AEW.
at
Um,
least with Tyson, he was known for punching.
that's true. Um,
I wouldn't take a hook from him.
I think
Yeah,
the
I
worst
apologize.
one was the
I'll
Big
take one.
Show
You guys can wake me up and tell me how it was in the morning.
when the Big Show went against that boxer.
Floyd
Uh,
Mayweather.
Floyd. Oh my God. It should never happen. You know, Big Show should have just wiped the floor with him. Um,
At
but you know,
least it took Floyd Mayweather with brass knuckles to take him out, though.
and he literally did break Big Show's nose. It was a legit break. He did pop him in the nose and break it. But when you look at him, and you know he's a third of the weight and the height of Big Show, there's no reason why Big Show shouldn't have just mopped the floor out of him.
Hey,
But
got
you know,
confidence.
but I agree with you. He has done really well. He's done a lot of had a lot of moments so far in his WWE career. And you know what's funny is he wrestles like you know how they tell you where you wrestle out of. He now lives in Puerto Rico, and I
Really?
don't know if it's because of all his dealings. You know that energy drink that he is
Prime.
like a co-owner of. There's been a lot of what do they call it?
Backlash.
Backlash on it because he like supposedly he conned a lot of investors out of a lot of money and promised them so much return, and they haven't received this return or whatever he promised. Um,
Well,
and
on
you
an
know,
energy, on water or energy, you're not going to get a big return. The margins are thin. I know that one for a fact because of my water company. I mean, there's not a lot to bite at the apple.
yeah, well, I mean, he's got a lot of businesses that he's a part of, and I know Puerto Rico is a nice escape from a lot of the rules and regulations. So I'm just wondering if that is the reason why he's currently living out of there. You know, I mean, he still has his YouTube following and you know his Pokemon followers and all this stuff, but I don't know. But that
Now,
was a
Bobby,
very
you
good match.
drank Prime. Did you like it?
The match?
No,
The
the
energy
Prime.
energy drink was like okay. It was blended in with all the others. The Prime sports drinks I can't stand. It tastes like an oversugared Kool-Aid.
Hmm. You had the Rocks ones, haven't you?
Yeah, the AOAs.
They pretty good?
I like those. They have a good smooth flavor.
Do they? They seem like
And
they get you the pep, the energy.
I think so, and if I remember correctly, they were one of the ones that were loaded with a lot of the vitamins and stuff too.
That's nice. That's good because a lot of times it's
Just
like
caffeine.
just caffeine just to pump you up and get you going. Caffeine and sugar.
And then drop you off an edge.
Right, right.
Well, the
But
squared ring energy drink isn't going to have any sugar.
Oh yeah,
It is not.
the first words I'm hearing of this, Nate. Are we going to have an energy drink coming out?
I've been planning on a lot of stuff. Hey, when you're on the farm, you get bored. So, gonna have
Isn't that when you're
champagne
supposed to ride a
coffee coming
horse?
out.
Isn't that when you're supposed to ride a horse when you get bored on a farm?
Hey, I need a girl up on the farm with me, so that's what I need. All
There's
the
no
dogs,
sheep
all
on the
the
farm.
fish, the animals. No, I need the girl.
And then you forget to feed the chickens.
But he only takes care of the four-legged ones, huh? That's weird.
He's gonna put her on all fours.
If she's a good girl.
Bobby, do you know who LA Knight is?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So they're saying that LA Knight is like a throwback to the '90s era, '90s Attitude Era. Like the Stone Colds and the Rock. Now, with the Money in the Bank, this is the first time I can honestly say that I've seen him wrestle. And I've seen the TikToks or sometimes the YouTube videos of saying that the fans are behind him, but the machine is not. And I tell you, every single time he got up to do something, because a lot of times they do a move and then someone else comes and does a move to them and then they're knocked out for a while and then they randomly get up and start going after it. Every single time he got up, like the audience just went crazy. And it's from London, so it's not like the regular type of USA audience. So to even have the London audience pop for him, like I said, I watch it, then I don't watch it. I'm not a religious person behind it, so I don't really know who LA Knight is. But when he came down to the ring, he did remind me of like a Stone Cold character with like Stone Cold with his move set and like his swagger coming to the ring with the availability of the talk like The Rock. Um, that's how I would describe him. And because he walks out to the ring, with the vest like Stone Cold used to, and just the trunks and the boots. But he is very good on the mic, and yeah, his voice is almost like The Rock's too, because I seen it on a YouTube short of they're comparing The Rock's voice to his voice, and it's damn near down on the money. I don't know if he's trying to uh, you know copycat The Rock or if it's just his regular voice. But the match was very good. I would highly recommend you watching that one, or at least trying to YouTube it or something like that, because it was a pretty good match.
But
I'm gonna look.
Jim, can you have the crowd behind you and not the machine? Because if the crowd is enough behind you, the machine has to get behind you because that's how they make their money.
Look at
Why
all
wouldn't you
small
do it that way?
guys in the '90s and early 2000s.
Oh, so LA Knight's a small guy.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like, every small guy, like Rey Mysterio, until Eddie died, he didn't get any real pushes, and he had every crowd behind him easily.
I would tell you the easiest one to look at would be Bryan Danielson. Uh, he was a short guy. He's probably about Bobby's height. And they always counted him as a mid-carder, someone who wouldn't get, pushed any further than what he was. Uh, and the fans got behind him so much that the machine started just making fun of him, calling him the GOAT because he had
A
a
B-plus player.
yeah, because he had this long ass beard. It's not the goat being your god or anything like that. It's just you look like a farm fucking animal. And he started this whole yes movement where everyone in the audience, as soon as he would come out of the curtain, he would be having his hands up in the air chanting yes, and all the crowd followed behind him, and then eventually he got into a main event situation where the fans wanted him to win, but the machine didn't, so they didn't let him win. And like the fans revolted. You know, like that's all bullshit. And next thing you know, he's the champion. You know, because they had no choice because the fans just kept getting behind him, and they had no choice but to do it. But did they want to originally? No. Because the time situation I'm talking about is when Batista came back. They wanted to put the belt on Batista, and it got down to where it was supposed to be Triple H versus Batista, but they had no choice but to put Bryan Danielson in there too, so it became a three-way. Because the whole plan, and they talked about it after the fact, that they had plans on putting the belt on Batista. But that night they changed. You know, they always change scripts left and right. But that night they changed and put it on Bryan, which, you know, hands down, he's a really damn good worker. You know, modern day, I would say Ricochet. Ricochet is such an awesome wrestler, and they're doing nothing with him. But again, every time he's out there, he's busting his ass, and the fans are behind him. The fans, I love Ricochet. The machine don't. You know, to them, he's just a short, skinny guy. What are you shaking your head no for?
So I don't.
You don't like
Great
Ricochet?
acrobat. Great acrobat.
But he's a good wrestler too if he wants to be. If he wants to actually get down and wrestle.
I've seen one quality match from him, and it was against Johnny Gargano, and I credit Johnny Gargano.
Oh,
So are you saying gymnasts aren't good
Yes.
athletes?
No. Great athlete, not a great wrestler.
I'm gonna have to call Ricochet now because we're buddies and I got his phone number. I'm gonna have to call him, get him down to SICW, and just show Bobby up one night. It's gonna have to happen.
Bring him on.
They have to do it.
All right. Well, at least let's get a proper send off then.
You want to say bye to all your fans, Bobby?
Bye.
All right, Jim. You always do the outro.
I don't remember that, but all right. Okay, so for everyone from the Squared Ring podcast, I know it's kind of a shorter time this time, but we just got to prepare for this Saturday's show. So again, remember to come on out. It's July the 8th. Doors open at 6. Bell time's at 7. We've got 2 Hall of Famers in the house that night defending their championship. Bobby's defending his. I'm defending mine. So
I'm
it's
going
gonna
to
be,
win mine back.
Oh, that's right.
Hey, way
Bobby's
to
gotta
rub
win
that
his
salt in
back.
there a little bit.
Sunday will
Totally
be
by mistake.
defending afterwards when he wins it.
Yeah.
There you go. So anyway, it's going to be one hell of a card. So come down, Belclair Fairgrounds, Belleville, Illinois. We'd love to see you guys before, during, after. You can always hook up with Mr. Nate. If you're bad, he can take you out back. That's where
If
they
you
keep
take
all
your
the sheep and
bad,
the farm animals and everything. Anyway, so yeah, you can always hook up with Nate if you want to. You can pop on. He'll be more than welcome to videotape you if you want to say something to us, and we'll throw it on the air. That'd be kind of cool if you want to. And like always, subscribe, like, share, throw in a comment, tell us how bad we're doing or how good we are, or just stop by and say hi.